I was gonna ask you, do we have this? I think Zoom is probably gonna, unless you have like the premium one, it's probably gonna cut us off in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I've got the premium one, so I've got it set for a good couple of hours. All right, okay. All right, looks like we're live right now, so like I said, I'll just be quiet for a quick second, and then away we go. On a Monday night. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Stoney coming to you live from the TCM Museum of Minnesota. This is the Space Corps podcast coming to you on a Monday night, baby. We got to treat you all right. It's not always a Friday night. Kick off the freaking weekend here, man. So we're going to start this one off exclusively. We're going live on the YouTube channel from now on, baby. And, of course, we got to thank the sponsors, the TCMFanClub.com. Anybody that is a fan of the Chainsaw, please go check it out. It is free service. It is amazing. It's your comprehensive everything Texas Chainsaw Massacre you could ever imagine, including my favorite is the old school fan forum for some of us old fuckers that predated the MySpace and all that. We used to hang out on message boards and kick it that way. So check that out. Of course, that's from the big homie Gilly. He's put that on. He's poured his heart, soul, everything into that, and we can't thank him enough for that. But let's kick it right into the show, everybody. Tonight I've got on amazing guests. I'm so excited we got to connect. Again, we got busy-ass lives, so I'm happy that we were able to connect. We've got Mr. Edward Payson, who is the director of, now on physical media, the In Search of the All-American Massacre, baby. Edward, how are you doing, brother?
Doing all right on this Monday night. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing now. I'm excited. It's like I get through the family life. I'm like, all right, let's get these kids to bed. Let's get them fed. Let's get home. I'm like, I got something to do. I thank you for giving me some excitement on a damn Monday, because usually it's just like, dude, when is this day over with? I've been pumped about this all day, man.
Hell yeah, same.
Oh, well, First of all, and I promise, even though I'm a big TCM guy, it's not going to be all about this. But I got to say, just as from all the fans of the franchise, we thank you for everything that you did with putting together something as amazing as this. And for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, it is live. It's on Tubi. It's free, of course. Now, like I just said, you've teamed up with Lunch Meat, and there's exclusive 50. Is that how many this is limited to?
So there was a first run around Halloween that was 50, and now there's another run right now that's going on. I think that's either 50 or 100. So
Okay. All right.
And I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure how far that's into that right now, but
Sure.
it's a good way because I think it started like a few months ago. At this point,
dude, it's so cool. Like the last podcast is when I did I just kind of did a bunch of unboxings, and this was one of them. I was so pumped for it, dude, and just as a physical media collector, whatever, but just old school, man. I mean, when I started on VHS, so just to be able to see something dope like that come out, and I love the new take on the art, on the cover art compared to like the original poster that you have for yours. It just kind of adds a little extra flavor to it. And again, just being able to see a Leatherface mask that has never been officially released, with just the bloodline of Hooper, genes coming together and approving this and putting it together. It's fucking beautiful, man. It's absolutely awesome. So, again, I highly encourage anybody to watch it. It's, I was probably a little over an hour, 70 minutes or so. Yeah, it's freaking awesome, man. And the people that you got on there, Felissa Rose, I couldn't believe that you had her on there. She is one hell of a sweetheart of a person. How did you get linked up with her?
So she's actually been in a few of my projects now. A few of them aren't released yet. They're, narrative films. This is the only documentary that she's been a part in, but she's been in a few of my short films.
Okay.
But yeah, she's in a big project of mine, actually starring Corey Feldman of all people.
Really?
Called The Sunday Night Slaughter, and it's like a anthology horror film that we shot some years ago, but it started as a web series when people are still doing those. And after about the third episode, we were like, "Hey, this is pretty big, and we have red cameras, and we're putting a lot of our money into it." And by the third episode, like the web series thing kind of started to die because we took like a year or 2 years like writing the scripts because we did them all at once, and then
Sure.
into the third episode, then it was like almost another half year, and by then it was like the bubble had burst on the web series thing. So we're like, why don't we revamp these since it's already been like a year and a half anyway? Revamp these into a feature film. And then like that took a little bit more time, but now it's like kind of ballooned into this bigger project, so it's still in post production at this point. But
That's awesome.
yeah, it's got Corey Feldman, it's got Felissa Rose, and it's got like demons, crazy like cannibalistic Christians. It's got like
Sweet.
tons of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's killer, man. I find it really interesting, just never being on your side of it, with just, I mean, obviously, like, everybody kind of has a general idea as to what, like, the production time costs, or what it takes to really kind of put together movies. But then what I never knew was, like, all of a sudden there could be the movie's done and it could be shelved, for years to come. I mean, I thought I heard you saying something about your first film that you did, was that like 12 years? Am I way out of line there? Or?
No, and it's not even just my first film. And I can totally relate to the kind of things, and I don't know for certain that like Tony went through these types of things because I've only talked to the man in passing, usually with him just mad at me for putting this movie out, and like just I've never really had a conversation. I've had conversations with other people that were producers on this project and stuff, and
Sure.
they were like cool with us doing it and stuff. But as far as my contact back and forth with Tony is just kind of, I think he had his own idea of like what this project was going to be.
Yeah.
Maybe like a hit piece on him or something, and that's never what it was supposed to be.
Right.
Honestly, it wasn't even supposed to be about like. It really was supposed to be about like, hey, all these tapes are showing up all over the place. Why are they showing up in these weird places? Let's investigate that. And that was kind of interesting to me, is the lost media portion of it. Not even so much as to why it didn't come out, but more as like, why are all these pieces showing up in storage lockers in different parts of the country and online, etc. But But yeah, no, I mean, I really would love to someday clear that up with him because that kind of like at the end of the day, I just was a fan and had been a fan of this since like the 6th or 7th grade.
Sure.
And once I watched the first one with my dad, and the second one eventually, and then when was this going to come out? When's this going to come out? When is this going to come out? And then I'm an adult, and I'm like, a documentary filmmaker now, and I'm still interested in this thing, and I don't think a lot of people know about this thing. And I know people who have literally been in like 5 documentaries about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and had no idea All American Massacre existed. So I was like, why not make a documentary about this thing? And I know like a lot of the criticism about this documentary is, oh well, there's not a lot of new information about it. It's like, yeah, well, you can't just make a documentary for the people who already know everything about it, because why would you do that?
Well, exactly. This is an informative thing for the great mass of people, as you're seeing. They have no idea that it even exists or it's even a thing.
Yeah, like you don't make the It Welcome to Derry series just for the people who read the It book. Like that makes no sense. You have to make you have to give an entry point to people who don't know the thing exists. So that's kind of what we did, and then there was a few extra things in there. We did have a few, exclusive, pictures from Greg that Greg had never released anywhere else.
Right.
I'm quite sure that like a lot of people didn't know or had not seen footage before of like Texas Chainsaw Manicure, which we were able to track down and stuff.
Right. Mosley's.
And so. But back to the original question, so my first film was called Morbid: A Love Story, and that kind of connected to me with Tony as well, because that film kind of sat shelved, for not necessarily shelved, but like we finished it, it had its premiere, and then there really wasn't a place to go with it because we tried the traditional route. I made it while I was in film school, and we did it on weekends for like close to 2 years, my whole freshman and sophomore year of college. And the reason why it took so long was because we did it on mini DV tapes, kind of the same format that they did it in. And essentially what happened was, this was in 2007. Essentially what happened was we had shot the entire film in 1 year, and I had given it to this editor to go and edit everything. And he was also a classmate of mine, and he was like a really good editor. And for a long time had gone by, and I'd only seen like 2 scenes or something like that. And I was like, "What is going on? Like, there's only 2 scenes." And he's like, "I'm working on a lot of things. And I really couldn't say anything because we were all doing this for free. We were all students and stuff. And then a lot of time had gone by. Like I want to say like 6 or 7 months had gone by. And I still hadn't seen anything but those 2 scenes. And finally I was like, okay, man, like, if you're too busy, just give me the stuff. And he went to give me the stuff, and he's like, hey, man, I have something I need to tell you, but you might want to be sitting down. In this process, I moved. And not only did I move, somehow, when I moved from the dorms to my new place, my apartment, I left the tapes without transferring them to a hard drive in the dorms.
No.
For the last third of the movie.
Holy shit.
So almost a year after we wrapped the entire project, we had to go and shoot the last third of the movie. Now, that wouldn't be the biggest deal since it was like a no budget movie and we could go, let's go get all the people and stuff. But people by that time, like, when you're shooting at that level and with those kind of like actors and stuff, like by that time people had like quit on their dream and moved back across the country to become like firefighters and like do day jobs and stuff, and like they just gave up on being actors altogether. So and then at that point as well, the movie used to be about a serial killer who didn't even know it, but he like met the guy who was literally going after him at like anger management class, and it like in the lobby at anger management class, and they become friends, and he doesn't even know that he's like chasing him, and they essentially become like best friends who hang out and like go fishing and all this like stuff because they're both really fucked up guys. One's like an FBI profiler, and the other guy's like a serial killer. So of course they get along because they just like deal with fucked up stuff all day.
Yeah, right.
But essentially what happened was the guy who was the FBI profiler guy, he was just like off. He was one of the guys who like just wasn't acting anymore. And most of his stuff towards the end of the film was gone. So essentially the movie then became a movie just about a serial killer who falls in love and decides like he doesn't want to be a serial killer anymore. And we had to change the entire thing. And I think it actually ended up better, but we had our premiere, and once we had the premiere, we went to a few festivals, and then there wasn't really streaming at that point. There wasn't streaming really at all. So it just sat shelved until there was streaming, and now it's on like a few small streaming networks. But that was literally like 12 years later.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
How like honestly, how like resentful where it was just like, I mean, that's a massive amount.
Yeah.
It's 30%
Yeah,
of the movie.
I've never even said his name like publicly or anything like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like, even still to this day, I see it as like, because it was the first movie and it was like,
Oh,
it was better than any film school that like I learned more in that than I could in any film school, any class in film school.
sure. Yeah.
Like we like, that's all I remember about film school was shooting that movie in the weekends. And even like during the week in film school, all I could think of like was, oh, this weekend we're shooting this, and this for my movie Morbid, and if we need to get this, we need to get this location. And it wasn't a small film either. It was like a 75-person cast.
Wow.
Yeah, with like 35 locations.
Jesus.
We had like over the top like kills where like there was like girls chopped up in bathtubs and like full on like party scenes. We had like a party scene that was like still to this day like one of the most like complicated scenes I've shot. It was a oneer, which is essentially like we had no cuts where we went through an entire party with a Steadicam and went from like one group of people talking and then moved the camera to another group of people talking all through this party without cutting, and nobody could mess up, and then turned all the way around, went back through the party, and had something happen to where like one of the people at one of the parties that we just talked to was like passed out, and then another one was like pulling another one into a bedroom, and then we went back outside, and two people that were just like getting mad at each other were now fighting outside.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so like just stuff like that, stuff that you do in your first like that you weren't scared to do for like a film, your first film. But that doesn't just stop with like your first film. It just happens with like, indie films. And that film was just like an out of pocket film that we did. Like, literally I like had good credit so I could just rack up a bunch of credit cards.
Yes.
And didn't pay off those credit cards. I was like 21 then, 22. Didn't pay those off until I was probably like 30. But that still was the case. Like I immediately like shot two more films, like a documentary and then a found footage film that we got done pretty quickly, called the Cohasset Snuff Film, which recently caught on pretty well. Like that we shot pretty quickly, and that was only for $200 we shot it, which that was the biggest lesson is like I spent all this money on this narrative film.
Yeah.
And then this little tiny film that we shot for $200 in my hometown, and then in Cohasset, Massachusetts. I'm not from Cohasset, Massachusetts, but like we shot most of it in Derry, New Hampshire, and then we shot like the exteriors and all the signs in like Cohasset, Massachusetts, and all around like the greater Boston area and stuff.
Okay.
Like 80% of the cast is like my brother, and reluctantly like my sister, and like my aunt gets killed in the movie. And then like there's only like 4 or 5 like people we cast as actors, and then everybody else was like friends of friends who were actors. All the locations were like places that we could get, or my friend and my friend this guy like knows someone who has a pizza parlor, so he's able to get this pizza parlor. And so that now, with like the smaller niche streaming audiences are platforms and stuff like Found TV, and things like that, and even like Tubi for a while until it got like banned from Tubi because of all the nudity that's in it. because we have like very, very close up shots of vaginas and stuff. But it's essentially about a kid in a yearbook club who gets a camera from his yearbook club and is told to get interviews with all the seniors for the graduation ceremony at the end of the year.
Mhm.
And instead he films himself plotting out and carrying out the murders of 3 classmates and uploads it to the internet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he's like kind of this like over the top like people didn't get it at the time, but he's basically like this over the top like Wile E. Coyote type of like serial killer, because he thinks that's like what he's supposed to do because he's playing a character.
Sure.
But then all the interviews talk about him as like this very quiet kid, and just kind of talk about him as a completely different person than you see when he's just like doing these vlogs in front of the camera, where he's basically being like a wrestling personality.
Sure.
But anyway, so this is like recently with like Gen Z not really seeing that kind of thing anymore, because we made that in 2009. It was like one of the first things that talked about, or one of the first like found footage films that talked about kind of how the internet could create like infamy, and infamy was the same in a way to like being famous for some people if you were just like ignored.
Yeah.
And you know, kind of talked about like Columbine as if it was like a, you know, for some kids that like they wanted to like, you know, be copycats to that kind of thing.
Right.
And,
Get the high score fucking
yeah,
mentality.
yeah. But anyway, like that film, like we, you know, that took a while to catch on. But I still have films from 2017 and 2018 that are in post-production now. And it's just because they're indie films that they just take so long. Some of it because you're asking people to do things that usually like you'd pay someone $250,000 and, you know, to do for, you know, your special effects crew.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very, very good, but they're doing it on their own time for maybe like, you know, $25,000. Other because you're doing it on your own time, and it's in between the bigger projects that are, you know, paying, you know, the money so you can put your lights on and
I get
stuff.
that.
So yeah. And then other times it's just because you don't have someone breathing down your neck saying like, this is a deadline. So finish at your own pace and, you know, do it the best you can because there's no deadline. And you spent this amount of time, so do it right, you know?
Yeah. And that's like, it's almost like there's almost too much freedom where that just like, it just, you know, it's kind of parallels to like, so my wife and I, we've got 3 kids. We bought this old Victorian home. It's like built in 1904. It's a rundown piece of shit, you know, and that's, hey, we're going to fix it all up. Okay, great. We're both hands on. So we knocking out room after room, but we have my career, we have kids, young kids, we've got, you know, just things we want to do on the weekend. So it's like, we do a bathroom renovation, which, you know, if you hired it out, it'd probably take 2 weekends and it would be done. Oh, we stretch that out for like a fucking year because you're like, dude, the weekday, no chance, you know, okay, maybe the weekend you get a little bit of time, you know, and all this. And so I feel you where it's like, you know, like, yeah, this might not be the high paying job for, you know, the special effects guys. So it's like, yeah, I'll just kind of do it when I can. Well, it's like, you know, trickling that in. Oh, I could just see how that it really can just stretch shit out so just exponentially, you know, and you're just like, how did it take this long? Well, that's because, you know, it's like you kind of, you know, whether you're allowing just the freedom of, just get it done when you can, or if it's like, you know, a monetary restraint, but, you know, it's like, yeah, you almost have to really kind of set some rigid milestones and goals, you know, to get some of that stuff done. I would assume, you know, unless you're completely fine with it. It's like, if it comes out in 10 years, no worries, you know, it'll come out eventually. But
yeah. Yeah, it's like right now I'm doing a documentary that is a sequel to another documentary. And essentially like it's a sequel, but it's like a way bigger sequel. And the first one didn't take that long. It was like 19 different people. And it is a video game collecting documentary.
okay.
But it was before my daughter was born. And now this one's a sequel. and it's 3 times as large with 65 different people, and just giant. It's taking 3 years instead of 1 year,
Okay, yeah.
but it's right around like the time it's about to be done, and it's just like I've been working like 7 hours a day on it, um, and it's just like nonstop. Even like when we're out of town, I'm still working on it, and essentially like essentially like I could see that light, through the tunnel, But yeah, like you're saying, like when you have kids, no matter what, you think you're going to be working on things
Yeah.
more, and you're like, I want to do it for them, but yeah, they slow things down. I just want to text my wife because she has my child's baby monitor on, and
Yeah, no worries, man.
it's making tons of noise.
Dude, not a problem at all, brother. This show ain't anything big time. It's always a shit show and just having fun. So, dude, don't ever worry about that. I was reading some things, trying to brush up a little bit, and now you just kind of alluded to it right there. So, I heard you've got quite a Sega Genesis collection. Is that what's going on in your personal collector life there? Is Sega Genesis the end all be all favorite back in the day gaming systems, or what?
Yeah, I had it as a kid. It was like the biggest thing that I connected with. Right now, I'm like 60 games away
From everyone. That's cool.
Yeah. And then I have like 50 Super Nintendo games. I have about 100 regular NES games. What else do I have? I have a bunch of the Japanese ones as well.
Okay.
What else do I have? I have a bunch of like doubles of the same games because I have ones that I play and then I have ones that are like still in the package, like graded, like comic books, essentially. Yeah.
That's killer, man. I before I was into horror collecting, vintage video gaming and stuff was definitely something I just kind of amassed because I grew up in it and I loved it, and I just when I think I was in a right time period where all of a sudden I was really just kind of stalking like Craigslist and stuff, and all of a sudden finding like that mom where old Johnny's gone off to college and there's a box of weird old video game shit, and I'd come by and pick it up for $10, $20, and man, I definitely I had quite a collection going on there. But growing up as a kid, man, Genesis and Super Nintendo were the two we always had. But I always liked the Sega games a lot more, man. Like I had I was thinking about when I was just reading about that, it kind of brought me down memory lane. But dude, some of the most favorite games for me, and I'm hoping you've maybe played them before, but number one was Toe Jam and Earl Panic on Funkatron. If you've ever played that game, dude, so dope. And then Booger Man was another one that me and my brother were just obsessed with playing.
Dude.
I mean, it's nothing but farts and boogers and
dude.
And...
I'll show you this after we get out. I have a prototype of Booger Man.
Do you?
A big longboard prototype of Booger Man for the
fucking
Super
cool,
Nintendo.
man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, we played the shit out of those two, and then I think Beavis and Butthead was probably like the main big three. I mean, we played Sonic forever, I mean, Alter Beast, all those good ones too. But just when I look back at like what were the heavy hitter ones, dude, those are so much fun, man. It just, I started collecting all of them again because I'm like, oh my God, I'm having kids now. How great is it going to be at one day I'll give them this collection? And then I started to realize they don't give a shit about that. They kind of look at it like grossed out, like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, okay, yep, all right, lesson learned. It's just like I've given up trying to push any of my own influence on these kids. I'm just like, yeah, I'll listen when they show they like something. Okay, cool. I'll feed that a little bit. My boy, he likes Transformers, and I never got into it when I was a kid. Nothing against it, but it just was my thing. And so I'm like, all right, dude. I'm kind of in with a lot of horror collecting communities, which also parallels like toy collector communities, and so I know a lot of auctioneers and stuff. So I started buying up that shit for cheap. But it's like, all right, here's something you like, because I don't know. It was a real quick, easy, like eye-opening, like, stop it, like, why would you put it on them? Just because you like it, you think they're going to like it. So I started selling off all of it, and kept some core stuff for a while, but.
Yeah, once you start, it is addicting. I didn't mean to get started with, I meant to just do the Genesis stuff.
Yeah.
But then, like, my mom was like, hey, I have, like, these old Ninja Turtles from when you were small, like back in my barn.
Yes.
Come get them." And then I meant to get them to like sell them, and then I was like, "Oh, I can't sell these."
Yeah, these are
And then now I have
badass.
like 600 Ninja Turtles, and
Sweet.
go to the swap meets and stuff and find other ones, and then
Oh, that's
I'm spending
awesome.
like $300 on one figure for those, and yeah.
So do you like to go to like horror conventions, just kind of those types of get-togethers that
Oh
you
yeah. Since I moved, so we moved from LA to Georgia in 2023, in like October 2023. We've only been to two of them since we moved here,
Okay.
but I used to go in LA like all the
Oh,
time.
sure. Yeah.
And it's mostly just because like so out here we like know nobody, and it's mostly because my wife transferred out here for work. But it's just my whole thing is I've just been working on this documentary essentially for 3 years,
Sure.
and then during the day doing commercials, and then also watching my daughter. So really there's just been no time to like one, have anybody that we like trust to like watch our daughter, and then the two times we went to these like kind of conventions and had her kind of come with us, she's been trying to grab stuff off everybody's tables, and we had to like pay for like things because she like ripped people's like headshots.
Oh,
And
great. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, no.
She was really young then, but
Yeah,
like,
how old was she during that? Just curious.
I think it was like maybe 2.5.
Okay.
For one of them.
Right.
One of them we were able to get. The newest, the last one was last year, and she was old enough to where she could just like watch her tablet. We put her in the stroller and she watched the tablet.
Dude, shout out to
the
tablets.
Minecraft. Yeah.
No, our youngest, she's almost 3, and she's like the absolute epitome of a fucking terrible 2 tornado. We never had it with our first 2, and so all of a sudden she's like, "Oh my god!" I just it's just wild. So I look at her and I go, "I could never bring you anywhere right now to something like that." My oldest daughter though, we get, so I'm up in Minneapolis, Minnesota area, and we get one horror convention a year. We get the Crypticon, and it's cool, but it's smaller scale. They don't have these big budgets where they're getting 1 billion guests. So it's usually some kind of oddball, whatever. But it's more of just the event itself that we're just so excited to go to. I mean, the guests are just a bonus, but just something that her and I get to do. We've been doing for like maybe 4 years or so. But yeah, dude, it's so much fun just to get there and like, just really get to like, meet up with all these people off the horror groups and stuff. We finally get together and kick it. And some of the other friends are like down in like Iowa and shit. They'll actually come up for it. So, we have a good time, and they do it in this, in like a hotel convention area. So instead of it just being like this big square gymnasium type of, whatever, it's like it's throughout all these different rooms. It's like a labyrinth of a hotel room that you get to, it's just really cool. So I really enjoy that. But I always do say I just wish we had more, because, I'm like, fuck, I'm like, Minneapolis, it's not like it's just some little rinky dink whatever, but it just, these conventions don't seem to thrive as much up north. I don't know why. But maybe it's just the lack of like celebrities wanting to go that, far. It might be it, too.
Yeah, I feel like they just used to be better when Fangoria and Creation were the ones that used to like be together doing them. They used to have like a lot more, just a lot more just going on, and a lot more like just There used to be like 300 celebrities, and then also like bands.
Right.
And just like things going on. I remember like there was one. It ended up being the last one because it was like a huge failure, but like it was like in Vegas. That's why, because it was like at the Palms, and I remember they had thought that there was gonna be like close to 20,000 people over the 3 days, and it ended up being only like 3,000 people.
Oh, okay.
And
missed the mark a little bit.
yeah, over, and it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so they really missed the mark.
Oh shit!
And the tickets were really expensive. They were like $60,
per day.
It was like $60 per day, or like $120 for all the days.
Yeah. Wow.
But like they had like George Romero, they had like Malcolm McDowell, they had like Christy Swenson, they had like Kane was there, they had Tom Savini, they had everybody.
Sure.
And then they had Rob Zombie performing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then they had like every podcast there, and then they had like a whole giant separate vendor room, like a whole giant thing that was just I and I'm not talking like a small little vendor room. They had
Yeah.
a giant room that was just vendors. They had a giant room that was just the
Like
celebrities,
celebrities and guests.
and then
Yeah.
they had another like semi large room that was like tattoo artists.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, and just it was so small that I got to have like a 25-minute uninterrupted conversation at one point with George Romero. This is right around the time of like Morbid.
That's sweet.
Talk about making my first film, and
Oh, cool.
he signed it. It was one of the last things. I have it right in front of me here. He has it's a poster. He signed a Night of the Living Dead poster. It says, "Edward, best wishes with Morbid and anything else you do. Stay scared."
Oh, how
Yeah,
impactful is that to you? Just
Yeah.
that's holy shit. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
and then he did the reverse one, like on my DVD. He wrote the same thing on my DVD. So
Cool, man.
yeah,
Wow. Dude, well, congrats on that. What a memory. That's so cool. That's freaking awesome, dude. Yeah, and that's another thing too. It's like, to be able to get into these conventions and then it's not so jam-packed where you actually get to have like connections with them. Instead of it's just, hey, 20 people in line ahead of me, I get to see them, pay the money, shake the hands, take the picture, move on. It's like that's cool too, but just to be able to sit and just yap with these people forever, man. And that's the part, that's the bonus on the Minneapolis side like that too. It is goofy, but it's like you get that opportunity to really just kick it with these people. And the fact it's in a hotel too, they have you get to book rooms there, you get a discount for, the Crypticon people, but all the celebrities are staying there, and then they've got these common areas where they got bonfires outside, and so you can sit and kick it and drink with these people, like late at night and party it up. So that's pretty cool too, man, because I'd imagine that somebody go to like Days of the Dead or something down in wherever, and you probably ain't seeing none of that. I mean, let alone you might stand in line for 8 hours to go get Matthew Lillard's autograph or something. That sucks.
yeah, yeah, dude. LA is like that a lot. You just
Ugh.
like the people you see that would just like be at a bar somewhere.
Yeah.
Or we did this thing where we like this is like before I even made that film.
Yeah.
I had a friend who knew that if you got hired as like a background in certain things, like, so remember there was like TNN for a while. It was like Spike TV. They had the Men's Choice Awards.
Yeah. Yes.
So like, if you went to the Men's Choice Awards, there was this girl. I think her name was like Wendy, and then like my other friends, I forget what friends. My friend Kyle, Chad, and another one, Gerard. They were like, and Kyle. Those are the friends, but they were like, oh, so we went last year to the Men's Choice Awards. If you just walk with the celebrities as they bring the celebrities in, when you're hired to be like the background people, no one will question you. So like, we tested it out. So like one time, so we tested it out twice. So one time, so Mickey Rourke came in, and then we just went right behind him. They just ushered us right into the bathroom with Mickey Rourke. So I'm just peeing beside Mickey Rourke. Yeah, and then like I left later on, like when the thing was over, but they followed right into the VIP room, and my friend Kyle is sitting at a table having a drunken conversation with, to the left of him is McLovin, and to the right of him is Clint Eastwood. And my friend Kyle is also drunk, just getting free drinks at this like invite only like just for the Men's Choice Awards.
Dude.
And Clint Eastwood, he's literally asking the most inappropriate questions. He's like, Clint, how many women have you slept with? And Clint is drunk, and he's just like, son, I lost count in 1961 or something like that.
No
like just
shit.
like. And McLovin's there, and he just like laugh. They're all just laughing together.
Oh,
it's like,
man.
Yeah. And then after, he follows them all to the Playboy Mansion party. And his other friends can't get in, so he's like, "Oh, I'm at the Playboy Mansion."
Yeah.
He sends a ping on his phone, like right when pings are like available, and they're jumping people's literal like giant fences to get into the Playboy Mansion, to get into the party.
That's fucking
Yeah.
wild, dude.
Yeah. Nothing that I would ever do, but like,
Hey,
yeah, that the bathroom was big enough for me. That's my story.
dude,
But
that's so cool. Well, who figured that out? When did you guys, to just, hey, let's just try this?
So they did the year before, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, they did the whole thing. I don't know if they did the Playboy Mansion the year before. So my friend Kyle, who was in that room with them, got invited, so he just went. But the other ones, he said like, "Hey, I'm going here," and they just followed. But they couldn't get in, so they jumped all these fences to get in there.
That's so wild. I love it.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird stories like that.
Man. So, I had a question and a few of them as you were kind of saying some stories. So back to the All-American, right? As you said, you've had very slight, interactions with Mr. Hooper, the younger. It's really unfortunate that he took it as he thought you were doing like a hit piece, because if you watch,
so I don't know that for sure.
Sure, but maybe you get the vibe that maybe that's what he thought. And my buddy Gilly, he's befriended him really recently, and he's actually kind of one of the only guys that really talks to him right now. He's very different every day. He's a very emotional kind of guy, and it's like you get some good days with him, some bad, whatever. And that's just it's too bad, because it's like, if if you really watched your documentary, like there's no tone in it that you're, it's like this nefarious, aha, gotcha type of thing, or trashing it. It's just like, it's clearly just like a love for trying to just uncover and figure out what's happened to this movie. So I hope that changes one time, because I some days when I talk with Gilly, he's gotten close to where he's like, I'm going to finish it. We're going to do it. And then some days it's like, nope, this thing's done forever. And you go, damn, man, like it was just got to get it right on the right fucking day and push him over the goal line or something. But hell, I mean, if anything, it's just like, just give up the rest of the freaking clips and somebody else can edit it together, and at least we got something, that's from there. But
I mean, I get it, man. I get it. I mean, your first film's your baby, and you want it to be perfect. And maybe if it didn't turn out the way you want it, you don't want it, out there. And maybe it's become so big that it's hard to tell people no, and he doesn't want to let people down, but at the same time doesn't want to release it, and he's stuck in this hard,
right.
People pulling him one way and him pulling himself the other way,
Wish nothing but the best for the dude.
And then all this bullshit with this Kane guy.
Yeah.
And like I didn't even know about that until his post. And I know he mentioned me in that post, and I had no idea why. It was like out of nowhere. Like on the All American Massacre page. I don't know if you saw that, and I don't even know what's that in regards to, but
sure.
Yeah. And I was told later that I guess this Kane guy is like he apparently like is saying that he's making a film based off of like footage that he received, but I'm told that it's not anything that he received, and that he's literally just making AI videos based off of stuff that he already had found on the internet. And passing it off as like footage that he received. And I'm told that he has already like done some kind of scam with the Return of the Living Dead franchise, where he scammed actual people who were involved in the film, like cast members, to actually be involved, and then they recluse himself from it because they found out that it was a scam or something.
Yeah.
And again, this is only like hearsay from what I've heard. I've not looked into this myself.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Because I have not, again, looked into it myself. But yeah, so.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. I had somebody was on the podcast page that they're excited about, seeing the show tonight, because they made mention that, and I don't know if it was on your radar, but recently, the All American Massacre's kind of come to surface again with that eBay collection of all those still shots, and all this, and some of the clips and things like that. And it's like you're saying, it's like showing up in like storage lockers and this, and it just even more just adds to the urban legend and the allure of it or whatever. But it's like, just seeing that all come together again, I just feel like it's just like such a heartache for all like the fans. She's like, oh my god, is it gonna happen? All of a sudden, it's like that collection went, then all of a sudden somebody bought it and then they re-put it up for $10 million, and you go fucking A.
And you know what? Like, and I want to talk about that too. That's such a good thing to talk about. So, funny enough, this is crazy actually. So, like, during the time we were making, the All American Massacre documentary, right before that, we made the Rarity documentary.
Okay.
And in the Rarity documentary, there's this group of guys, the Pixel Game Squad, who are huge on YouTube and stuff. They go to all the swap meets and stuff like that. And I became really good friends with them. This guy, Aaron Stapish, he goes by Riff.
Okay.
He's in Southern California. And one of his good friends is this guy, Rusty, who was on Pawn Stars and stuff. If anybody watches like Pawn Stars and stuff. Would you fucking believe it, man, that the guy who had it the entire time and sold it was that guy Rusty from Pawn Stars?
What?
I knew him the entire time, and our paths our paths just never crossed. It just never occurred to me that he could possibly have it because he was the video game guy. He was the video game guy. We were making a horror documentary, and I just never thought of him to be like someone who collected horror stuff. But I should have because on literal, like, over the years on the same channel, like, they'll be at the swap meet and Riff will be like, oh, Rusty had all this stuff from Sid Haig's locker, and it's like signed stuff that was original Sid Haig stuff from his day on the production of this movie, or from Devil's Rejects, signed. Oh, this is his schedule for that day on the movie. It never clicked to me, and he had it that entire time.
Oh my god!
Literally from years ago, and he was the one who just sold it. And just to clear everything up from people, there were a lot of things that were wrong on that listing.
Yeah.
So it was not from Stephen Lockdish's locker. Okay. It was from the same locker. From Eric Lasher's locker.
Okay.
Everything was in the same locker, and from what we could see, everything was from the first day of shooting as well. So it's everything that would have shown up in the trailer that's already out there.
Sure.
So it wouldn't be any new footage. The only thing, and I talked to him personally, by the way. I think I have the text I can show that I talked to him about what was on there.
Yeah.
Let me see.
God, that's so wild, dude.
Yeah. I gotta remember what his name was. I know his name is Dusty, but I gotta remember what his actual name on Instagram was. But so what he said was, aside from just the stuff from the first day, because people were like, "Oh, there's a kill of Leatherface on there" and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't a kill from Leatherface.
Okay.
That was the clothes that Tony was wearing on the first day of shooting, and that was Tony going over the scene of Leatherface in the trailer, like shaking the chainsaw.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So he has a chainsaw like this. In front of him, there was a person.
Yeah.
That's the back of what Tony was wearing. If you look in the documentary, he was wearing in the pictures you see in my documentary. Let me see real quick. All right, so this is me. You can't really see it, but this is me talking to Dusty.
Sure.
Yeah, he said, yeah, that stuff's pretty cool. It was like 4 scenes. It had like part of a Drew Carey show in the middle of all the footage for some reason.
Yeah.
Really weird tape. The guy's unit it came from was crazy too. He was scamming people, selling fake movie props as if they were real.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. So I don't know who he got it from, but he got it from somebody who was scamming people for. So
God, that's just
so
nuts,
I
man.
think he bought it from whoever had already bought it from Eric's locker back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, yeah, he said there was other stuff of them just like hanging out. He said there was more footage of them hanging out than there was of the actual shooting.
Yeah.
On the footage, but
God. When that thing came back up for eBay, everybody was buzzing about it and talking. We're all trying to get together. How can we pile up the money just to get it and buy it? And the one thing that crossed the mind of a couple of us too were like, dude, if Vortex and Henkel caught wind of it and they could just bot it up, just they could forever seal that fucking thing up so it would never see the light of day.
See, that's the thing. Like, I don't think they would care with all like the, there's so many films. I don't think this is going to be on their radar. There's so many fan films now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that it would be something that they would care about.
Sure.
But what I did say, like, I also got contacted by the guy who did buy it from Dusty, and he like was like, "Oh, do you want to buy it from me? Do you want this?" Like, and I said, like, I told him, like, no, I'm not going to release it unless I had permission from Tony. Like, there's
Right.
nothing I can do with it unless I had permission from Tony to do it. Like, and all the stuff that we had in the documentary was stuff that we had permission, or we had, there's this thing with documentaries that you have to have like fair use, and fair use. There's like a certain set of rules. Like, you can't just like show stuff for the sake of like, oh, this is gonna make my project cooler. There has to be like a reason to use it, and it's like something like if people are talking about it, or if it's like the only thing that exists, if it's historically relevant.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, and if it's the only thing out there, I'm not gonna. And if he's still working on it, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
No, that's
make the guy
fair.
mad.
But to touch back on Kim Henkel though, it I really hope right now the TCM rights, they're looking for somebody else to acquire them, right? We're hoping maybe A24 or somebody picks it up just so we can start pumping out some more shows or movies again on it. But, just the way that they've been so out for blood with, if you're familiar with what happened with the gas station, down in Bastrop, they,
Yeah. Yep.
one of the old sponsors of the show, the Half Moon Designs, and she made, she got a cease and desist from them for, something that was just like barely remotely TCM related. I've gotten one on my merch page. My daughter, my 11-year-old, she drew me a little cartoon Leatherface, and all it says on there is like Stoney's, TCM museum. It doesn't say Texas Chainsaw or whatever. They sent me a cease and desist, and all this stuff where it's just like, it's like, I mean, I get it on one end where it's like, okay, legally that's yours, and you don't want anybody profiting off of something that you have the rights to and stuff like that. But it's like, for fuck's sake, it's like we're talking about a movie that's 50 years old, and it's like you're punishing like these super fans that are just like, you should be celebrating the fact that people are like keeping this franchise alive, and just in and I mean keeping it where everybody's excited about it still, and it's just like I feel like they're just.
You?
What's that?
Who sent you the cease and desist?
I got it through Facebook. I had a temporary account suspension on the podcast page, and then it shows you who filed the grievance through it, and it was from Vortex Corporation, and they isolated out what it was, because I was like, oh shit, what's this going to be about? Because I mean, like everything I post is about the all that, and then all of a sudden for them just isolate this literal genuine art that my daughter made, I was just like, dude, what the fuck? I'm like,
Yeah.
Really? And I mean, I looked at my sales. I may have sold like 2 shirts of that. It's just like, this is who we're going after, guys. I mean, but again, it's all in their right. And okay, sure. But I just feel like they're just kind of, it didn't give off a nice feel on their end, where it's just kind of like, wow, that's, feel like you'd fucking, I don't know. But anyway, I just so that's why that's with that little bit of history of having with them. I was just like, what would they do if they saw that opportunity? Because like you say, I mean, there's so many theories as to why this never came to a conclusion. But one of them, which was a really good point, was that's the same time where his movie of The Next Generation was coming out, and it's makes sense. So I don't know. I like the idea of all the different theories and all that shit. It's fun
Yeah.
now, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of was the whole thing. It was supposed to be something fun and for the community, and yeah. We never anticipated it being something that would make anybody like upset or you know.
Yeah.
If anything, we saw it as like a huge promotion piece for
Right.
the
Yeah.
stuff that they created. Like it's literally a giant promotion piece
Yeah.
that'll continue to make people like, oh, what is All American Massacre? Oh, now I have to go watch it when it comes
Yeah.
out.
Exactly. Yeah. Another thing too, I was thinking about when you were talking about, when you made that other film for $200, and also that was just such like an eye opening. It's like, wow, shit, things just don't have to be what you think it is, to get something done. With now knowing that, where it's like, budgets, I mean, obviously you have more ability to do certain things, but with just learning that, and then now with the multitude of platforms that you can just release anything that you put out, for free, and I mean, does this just make you feel like, dude, finally, like it just opens up like possibilities to where you have a lot less risk, for putting out things where, it's like instead of having to, catch a deal from somebody, for, some big publication, however that works. Like, do you like the way it's set up nowadays more, or, do you like, earlier in the grind where you're like, it's almost too easy for people to put shit out now?
I love the way it's set up now.
Cool.
So that film, Class of Snuff film, we had an original, release of that. And let me I'm gonna get a prop real quick.
Yeah, cool.
So this here, this is I just got back. I just got back from CGC, which, as like a novelty, I'm just sending all my own
Cool.
movies to the graders here.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, that's Glass of Snuff film. Anyway, so we had it through this company here, R Squared. You can see right there.
Yeah.
And it went to all these different countries. We never saw a dime. It was a 7-year contract. We never saw a dime. And it was on streaming for a while. Not only was it on streaming for a while we were under contract with them, we couldn't get them to take it off of streaming after the contract was up.
Really?
After emails and emails and emails, they would not take it down. And then the company ended up like dissipating and stuff, but we never saw a dime. And it was just like all this like
holy,
like, you're familiar with the term honey dicking, like just like, oh yeah, you guys are gonna make money, like you guys are gonna make so much money.
Jesus.
And like they would like do stuff like my dude made this poster here, and the poster is literally like, it's hard to see, but it's literally just like a painted poster.
Yeah.
And they would try to pull stuff and hope that we didn't see it, like, we're going to up the opacity on the poster, and we're just gonna hide in there that we're gonna charge you $7,000 for poster design on top of it, or maybe it was a different amount, but it was a high amount. We're just like, what are you talking about? He designed the poster.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna take away his original like print that he made from scratch and put some like siphon filter print on there, and then say like, oh yeah, that's an extra $350 in poster design. Yeah,
that's wild.
Just like stuff like that. But then, and so every time we were about to go into the black, they'd be like, oh well, now we had to make like 600 other DVDs, so now we're back in the red.
Yeah.
But like all these countries, like people were messaging me from Belgium and stuff like that. I'd be like, oh, I got my copy, like really cool. Wow. Never saw a dime. And now this is like the first time we've ever like, started seeing people like all these Gen Z kids that are like making videos on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
And on like TikTok and stuff, being like, oh my God, this movie is like, it's not very PC. And like, like, I don't know if you can make this kind of film.
Yeah.
And they're making it, and they're like, I don't know if I like it or not yet, but like I'm definitely gonna make a video about it. So yeah, that's how the deals were. They literally, and my friend worked for, I'm not going to say the name of the company because they're big enough that they will sue if you say their name.
Sure.
And they're still around, but like there was literally like a like wing of the company that was like literally nicknamed like Screw Small Filmmakers like wing, where they would try to
Jesus.
buy like small filmmakers horror films for $5,000, knowing that they would never ever pay them, but make tons of money off their
Oh
films.
God.
And that's how like indie distributors are all set up. They're all set up to just like, oh, let's find this naive filmmaker who
Yeah.
doesn't know how distribution works, get them into a deal that looks great, if good faith is stuck to,
Yeah.
but there's no guarantees. It's all based on us having the same enthusiasm they do.
Right.
So we're not going to try to do any of these things. If it works, it works.
Oh,
But
wow.
we're just going to keep all the money up front and all that kind of stuff, and they're just never going to see a dime. There's no transparency. And essentially, like, none of these filmmakers ever see a dime. I wouldn't be surprised if no one from that company ever saw a single nickel.
Man.
But today, there's I highly recommend Film Hub. 100% like transparent. There's no middleman. It's essentially the same as like self-distribution. You upload all your assets right there. And rather than being like they get like huge chunks of your money and no transparency, every single month, they're basically you upload once and they're pitching you to all these different networks. Every month you get to see like where your movie has gone, how much revenue your movie has made that month, and you get to see it in like a bar graph, like all your different movies. If you have more than one movie there, like this is where it made, this is how much it made here, this is how much it made here. And essentially, like if you wanted to pay for like a bigger tier, like it's a whole, I should say it's like 100% free, except for like they do get 20%, you get 80% of all the profits. But like all you're doing is uploading, and you don't have to do any other work except for the uploading.
Sure.
They're doing all the pitching. You're just uploading all the assets one time, and they're like doing all the like transcoding for all the different channels. If the channels like require like, oh well, we need this certain format for Russia because they don't take 1080p, but they take like 480p, and they take like this.
Yeah.
They'll do all that for you.
Well, shit, that seems worth it. I mean, that's fair, right? I mean, like, what do you need the 20% for? Well, that right there. Okay, that's a lot of work. That makes sense,
But also doing the pitching for you. And whenever a new channel comes out, they do that as well. And you get all these packages together, because every single one of these channels, they're not just getting your movie and watching the whole movie. They're like, well, we want this package that is going to have like, maybe Netflix wants the full movie, a trailer, and then like a 15-second trailer. But they're not going to come to you for like 20 different channels that want to see your movie. They're going to do that all, behind closed doors. And they're going to say like, oh, well, these 4 new channels want your movie and you're going to be on at this date. But anyway, if you pay like, I think it's like $300 a year on top of the 20%, you then get access to a 24/7 liaison that you can just basically message or call during like work hours. That's like specifically like monitoring your account, and actually will like and will actually like have like a plan for you to like moving forward. Like, okay, I think we should go after this strategy, to go after that, to get your movie on Shudder. We should do this. I think we should make a poster to do that is like this color or looks like this to, attract them, or actually like let you sit in on, these calls or messages with these different people if you want to. So if you have more films on there, I wouldn't say that if you have one film on there to do that, but if you have 5, 6, 7 films on there,
Mm-hmm.
maybe do that. So yeah, might be the way to go.
That's fucking cool. Yeah, it's like your own personal consultant, or whatever. I mean, just somebody with some actual expertise. That's awesome. That's yeah, especially I mean, if it's $300 and it's one movie, or if you have 20 movies, it's all that same. That's amazing, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, shit. Well, sir, I gotta start getting my ass to bed here pretty soon. I really appreciate all the fucking time you've spent, and again everything you've done. I'd love to do this again at some point too. I mean, maybe we'll get Toby Hooper, or I'm sorry, not Toby, but William. Get him back on, and we're trying to coax him on the show every once in a while, and see if we got some new revelations we can break to everybody. But yeah, I mean, again, I really appreciate everything you've done, man. And is there's anything else you wanted to plug or whatever? I'll be putting up links to your IMDb and your socials and all that too. And yeah, any last words here, my brother?
Sure, yeah, man. So yeah, right now for the last 3 years, I've been working on Rarity Retro Video Game Collecting in the Modern Era Part 2. Part 1 is available everywhere: YouTube, Tubi, everything. Horror is my first love, so there's a lot of horror stuff in there, just kind of thrown in. It is a video game collecting documentary, but there's a lot of stuff. We do talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre and other stuff like that in it. It is video game related, so we do talk about the Wizard video release and other type of games like Chiller, that were the first games to get banned and stuff. A game that was for the Nintendo that a lot of people don't know about, that was all about the point of the game was to torture people until you rip their body parts apart, and it was for the Nintendo. So yeah, so it came from an arcade game and other weird stuff you could only get at video rental stores and stuff like that. Some of them behind the counter, some of them on the bottom shelf at mom and pop video rental places and stuff. So
cool.
But yeah, all about collecting. This new one is we talked about earlier, 3 times as large.
Yeah.
And we are gonna, speaking of lost media, we did find lost media in this and uncovered it. It is sitting in my Dropbox right now with full permission from the person who actually created it.
Wow.
And it is a lost Eminem game. The rapper Eminem.
Yeah.
He was supposed to have a game come out in 2002, fell off the face of the earth, and no one knew why. We do now, and it's all by happenstance. The person who created it happened to come to the premiere of my first documentary, this one. And he was so inspired, not knowing that anybody was into this kind of stuff, that he went home. This was during COVID. Yeah. He went home and went to clean his attic and found 50 prototypes of stuff he worked on in the 90s. He worked on
cool.
Yeah, he worked on Earthworm Jim. He worked on all these huge prototypes. He worked on all the WCW games for the Nintendo 64. He worked on Mecha Turrican, all these things. And he just had he said over 50 prototypes, as well as his dev systems for the PlayStation stuff. Anyway, one of them was this lost M&M game that he didn't even know was considered lost now, that doesn't even have one single frame online anywhere.
Wow.
And it's been sitting while I'm finishing this film. The entire game has just been sitting in my Dropbox, waiting for the film's release, along with his interview and 64 other people, big people in the video game world and huge collectors, actually on 6 continents. So we interview people on 6 continents. So
amazing. Well, when that comes out, let me know, man. We gotta have you back on then, if you'd come back on, of course. So
definitely watch part 1 though.
I will, brother. All right, man. Well, again, thank you so much. I hope you have yourself a nice evening, and thanks again for coming on.
You too. Try to get some sleep, man.
All right. Thanks, everybody. See you later.
In the vast expanse where the cosmos sighs, drifts an ancient tale as old as the skies. A figure from stories now mythified, Space Corps goes orbiting by. He once roamed planets, oh far and wide, but now he floats where the starships fly. No more breath in his chest, yet can't be denied the space cadet who died. Oh, oh, space corpse, in the void you glide, a spectral waltz in the galaxy's tide, floating free like a cosmic guide. Space corpse goes orbiting by. Galaxies turn while he haunts with pride. No anchor to worlds, just space to bide. Gliding through stardust, no need to hide. This wanderer who never cried. In weightless silence where time collides, he drifts in dreams so amplified. Mysterious tales on mystic rides. Space corpse haunts so dignified. Oh, oh, space corpse, in the void you glide, a spectral waltz in the galaxy's tide, floating free like a cosmic guide. Space corpse goes orbiting by. Galaxies turn while he haunts with pride. A spectral waltz in the galaxy's tide, floating free like a cosmic guide. Space corpse goes orbiting by.